This is exactly why I did the project, to show people that these little things we see, these little archetypes, these little details we love and we're so proud about, were instilled by our invaders and colonizers 500 years ago. My name is Juan Brenner. I'm a photographer based in Guatemala City. Tonatiuh is mainly a series I did because I wanted to find myself again. I had to come back to Guatemala, move from New York for my fashion photography career because my life was definitely out of control. Too much of partying and drugs. And in 2018, I decided I wanted to do a project about the conquest of Guatemala. The beginning of that project came from trips to South America, and I got to witness indigenous power, different codes of society, but at the same time, I could see the same archetypes of Guatemala in those countries. I started getting really interested in the conquest of the Americas. I wanted to focus on what happened in my territory. I started researching and I found Pedro de Alvarado, who is the Spanish conqueror of Guatemala. And our colonial process started when he invaded the territory today known as Guatemala. All I did was following his path 500 years ago. Why is it called Tonatiuh? It's because that was the nickname the Mexican Tlaxcalan people gave him when they invaded Mexico, because he was so beautiful and blonde. And Tonatiuh translates directly to the sun. So I was really focused on how someone so mean and such a murderer and so crazy had that beautiful nickname. Guatemala's context at the moment was really tricky, as we've had maybe 12 really bad years when it comes to socio-political matters. Our governments have been really fragile and really volatile, and that gives us kind of a foggy way of seeing where we are. Something I wanted to prove with my project is that the country has been exactly the same for 500 years. Many of the really bad things that are part of our daily life, like corruption, violence, lies, were basically invented at that point. This is exactly why I did the project, to show people that these little things we see, these little archetypes, these little details we love and we're so proud about, were instilled by our invaders and colonizers 500 years ago. Besides that, shooting the images is really hard because Guatemala is an extremely violent and unsafe country. There's a lot of gangs, there's a lot of narco activity. So that was dangerous. They're warriors, and they don't like to be photographed. And I was in a kind of a dark place at the moment. Wanted to find myself where I was, and Tonatiuh was something that helped me focus and helped me find myself as a Guatemalan again. In this image, it's important to denote that it was the first set of grills I shot. I was desperately looking and seeking for gold, because the conquerors were too, so I kind of felt that same urgent feeling of finding gold, of photographing gold, I realized that in the highlands, people put gold and silver in their mouths. It was amazing. The Mayans did it 2,000 years ago, So it's beautiful to see the circular story on how people wear gold as a sign of power. But this picture, it's really important for me because it's the first time I bumped into the metal in the mouths. In this image, I talk about technology. What we see here, it's called mecapal. This is technology that is being used in Mesoamerica for the last 3,000 years. A leather piece that you put in your head and you carry weight, but it's designed so the shape of your head and your spine are the ones carrying all the weight so your legs doesn't have to. It's technology, man. But this guy has to carry about 150 pounds of wood every 2 days. So his house has heat and he can cook basic stuff. And some people are still having to use technology from 3,000 years ago to be able to have heat and food on their tables. That's really horrible. This picture is really important. I decided to close the book with this picture because, again, we see the red, white, and blue, and we see a Yankee hat. I wanted to say, okay, here I show you our new conqueror. Here I show you the new empire. Here I show you the post-colonial force that is, again, using us, taking all our stuff. The colonial process is so well designed, man, that in 2021 we still accept it. Now it's a different country. Now it's a different crown. Now it's a different empire. Nothing has changed, and it won't change. It's really bad. It's really dark. People hate me for this, but that's the lesson.